Holy smokes! All the tiny handles that Buzzbee has ever produced, the missing handle bits, well, they went onto this blaster because this handle is now oversized. Whose hand was this made for, Buzzbee? Hello everyone, my name is Beret, and sometimes I wear a beret, and it is summer 2022, which means a lot of new blasters are circulating, and one company that is not to be forgotten is Buzzbee. They do have some new stuff this year. They had some new stuff last year as well. That was an interesting experience. I made a few videos about their releases in 2021, the good, the bad, the fixes, and I'm happy to say that I think we're past that when it comes to things like the Thundershot. Yes, there was a faulty product that was released initially. I think it's more or less been fixed at this point. Honestly, the Thundershot as it is not the worst thing ever. I like the capacity, I like the performance. The ergo is weird still. And funny enough, it was the Tetra Shot that kind of did it for me the worst. Like that blaster, even when it's supposed to work as advertised, performance isn't there, the feeding isn't always there, the chains are, well, when they stay together are still kind of That's in the past, here we are now. We got a clean slate, new year, new Buzzbee. What have they gotten this year? Well, I'll tell you two things that they've got this year. Full disclosure, of course, these two blasters are coming to me from Buzzbee themselves. Actually, they put an order for me in to Walmart, so I got stuff from walmart.com that Buzzbee sent to me. So yes, these are free products for review purposes, but these are the same products that you would get if you went to walmart.com or Walmart in stores and gotten Buzzbee's hot new offerings. That being the Blitz 6. Yes, a beautiful new pistol, and the Alpha Auto 72. This is the one I'm most interested in, but let's talk about the pistol first. The Blitz 6 is advertised to shoot up to 100 feet. Auto advancing, heck yes, comes with 12 long distance darts. Friendly reminder, this is a Buzzbee blaster under the Walmart Adventure Force line, so yes, there are Dart Zone offerings, there are X-Shot offerings, and Buzzbee offerings under Adventure Force, but this is a Buzzbee blaster. You put your darts in the blaster, you pull back, and you fire. The Blitz 6 is fairly simple, and one of the coolest things about this blaster is the price. This thing costs a little over $7. You can round up to $8 for the full dollar amount, and that's obviously a very positive selling point. Now the Blitz 6 also comes with a somewhat reasonably sized handle, but one thing I'm not sure if I love is the fact that this little yellow piece right here, well, it creates somewhat of a trigger well and it makes it really small. So like if I put my finger on the outside, yes, it has something to rest on, and then if I put my finger on the trigger, ow, 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 ow. Anyways, how does the blaster perform? Well, like I said, pull back on this little ring on the back, now you've indexed and you can fire. Pull again, rotates on the prime, fire, rotate, fire. A lot of the other Buzzbee pistol offerings have not been auto-rotating. So this one does do something that, well, not original, not even for Buzzbee. It's nice because you know then it's that top barrel that is going to be the one that fires. The shell is very simple. You know, you've got your blue, you got your yellow, you got your green, and you got your orange bits as well. Nothing too fancy there, relatively simple, some detailing on the side. Pretty solid. I mean, it's light, but at least it's like not creaking like the Thundershot was. But you can tell, you know, it's very shiny. The pull ring is a little bit flexy, but it gets the job done. If you're just pulling backwards, it's probably not going to be that big of an issue. One thing that is worth mentioning is that when you prime it back, you can actually rotate the cylinder without priming the blaster, right? You could hear the auto indexing there, but I haven't actually primed it yet. Oops, so you do have to make sure you pull back all the way so that it rotates. And see, I've already rotated a few more, so this dart is no longer in the firing position. There are some pegs in here as well, say cheese, but I think if you remove those pegs, you could possibly get it to fire half darts. And while I don't love this yellow piece up here, spoiler alert, if you do have yourself a small little screwdriver, you can take out those 3 screws and you can unclip this and you have a little bit more space. I'll show you that later. Now when it comes to performance, this thing is no slouch. It's not doing anything super impressive or original when it comes to game-changing performance out of a pistol like this, but I think it performs just fine. It's going to depend on the darts. Of course, these are Buzzbee long distance darts, but my testing with Nerf Elite darts or Adventure Force waffle darts for a little bit more accuracy, yielded some, I think, totally acceptable performance for a blaster like this, and I think blasters in general, especially for a blaster that's advertised for ages 8 and up. I don't have anything crazy to say about this blaster, but I don't have too many negative things to say otherwise. But that said, I want to talk about the Alpha Auto 72. Because it's a lot cooler. Starting with the box, just for reference, the motorized full auto dart blasting Alpha Auto 72 comes with 76 pieces, that being the 1 dart blaster, the 1 removable sight, the 1 removable stock, the 1 dart drum, and the 72 long distance darts. So it's just enough to actually fill the cylinder all the way. Also claims it can shoot up to 100 feet. Not sure about that one. Anyways, that's a box. You don't care about the box, you care about the blaster. As I scoot back to get this thing into frame, the Alpha Auto 72 is a pretty good size, and it's also advertised for ages 8 and up. But you can see that cylinder is pretty chunky, because it needs to be to hold 72 darts. Now, there are some things on this blaster that are surprising. Namely, look at that handle. If you've seen any other reviews on this so far, or just seen a picture, you were probably like, wait a minute, is that really, look, oh my gosh, look at that handle. Holy smokes. All the tiny handles that Buzzbee has ever produced, the missing handle bits, well, they went onto this blaster because this handle is now oversized. Whose hand was this made for, Buzzbee? Whose hand was this made for? I'm sorry, this is so funny. The Blitz 6 is a decent size, but this one is just nuts. So I don't think anyone's gonna have a huge problem with this unless their hand is too small. Now you do have a little bit of a grip in the front. That one is smaller. It's not the most comfortable, but you can see my hand fits on that one just fine. I do find myself using this only half the time because sometimes I just like put my hand up here or I put my hand right here because this thing is like super far out. I understand that maybe the point was to have it away from the drum so that your hand, in case it was put like right here, wouldn't like rub up against this spinning cylinder. The stock is pretty short, but you can see your hand most likely will not have any problems fitting in between the handle and the stock itself. And yes, the stock is in fact removable. Just a big chunky piece. And that should be a very familiar end strike style attachment point, which means that while it won't fit in the cosmetic sense, it will fit in the literal sense if you have a Nerf style stock. Or some of the new Dart Zone offerings too are compatible with this. Honestly though, I think this stock fits it just fine, and if you just want to leave it off with no stock, well then I guess you've reduced a little bit of the size there. Now this little purple sight on the top is not removable, but the one on the back, hello, is. It also can flip up a little bit if that matters to you, or you can just take it off and yeet it into the ether. When it comes to colors, I like the aesthetic that Buzzbee has gone with these. Some people have said, wow, that's the ugliest thing you could have done, Buzzbee. But I will fire back in saying, you know what, when I look at these blasters and I see the green, the blue, the purple, the yellow, and then the orange, I know that this thing is a toy. And I do appreciate Buzzbee going that route, even if some of their older paint schemes were objectively cooler. I will admit that I prefer the aesthetics and overall design of something like the Sentinel when it first came out. I like the use of white and the blue and the orange on that blaster, but I'm gonna say, haters gonna hate. I think this thing does have a place, and this is definitely a toy, because if you do the colors wrong on this guy, it could possibly look a little bit more serious. And it's not serious, it's a Buzzbee blaster. Other important feature on this side, you've got the jam door here in orange. I've heard some people had theirs pretty sticky, mine is not, but of course you will need to have this jam door fully closed so that you can rev up the blaster. You open the jam door, you ain't gonna get that. I have used this before to get my finger in to push a dart out of the flywheel, so I will say it's useful. And as mentioned on the box, you've got your blaster and you've got this pin which will secure the drum into place. Now, there is only one way to put it into place. You'll want the back like this towards you, and the front, which is clear, towards the enemy. It should line up just perfectly. If they were to sell these separately, that would be pretty freaking cool, so you can quickly swap these cylinders, because it's really easy to do. You just put that into place, lock, and then when you want to remove the drum, if for any reason you do, you just hit this latch, pull it out, and the drum comes right out. To operate the blaster, it is just one trigger there. You pull down halfway to start revving. Take 6 AA's, so it's not quiet, and then pull all the way back to fire. Are you impressed by the rate of fire? I know some people are not. It's slow auto, if you want to call it that. I think that term's been thrown around a little bit. But if I'm just trying to fire one really quickly, so I'm revving and fire. I didn't fire. So that might be a bit of a con if you're looking to have something that's very responsive with a single full pull of the trigger. You're not going to get that. It's literally going to take you a couple seconds. But what does this blaster do really well? Just freaking dumping. Ah, okay. See, so I was literally looking at it. That dart is just poking into the flywheels, right? Because I tried to do a single shot. Push it right back in. Close the door. And it's fine. On the side of the blaster too, you've got those little stickers, and they say like, don't angle the blaster one certain way so it fires. I think it's because the darts have to fall into place. Because as you can see, this cylinder is double stacked in each slot. When you're reloading this blaster, you put the darts into the single slot, and if it's the first dart there, it'll fall into place. And then you have room for a second dart, which will look like that when it's fully closed. But as the cylinder goes around, a single dart will fall to the bottom here, and then it will fall into place and fire from the bottom, like so. I think that means if you angle the blaster too sharply down, a single dart may have the back go up like this, and the pusher will slide underneath it, and you won't fire a dart. So that's why they're trying to say, fire it level, or fire it at an angle, because then the back of the dart is still going to be at the pusher. Sometimes it does skip over. Now, I'm gonna say something that's a bit controversial then. Sometimes it doesn't matter, because this thing just has so much capacity, you just keep going, and if you do notice that you've skipped a dart, just spin it to the right spot and fire that dart again. The spinning cylinder is a curse and a blessing though. When this cylinder is empty, it makes a really loud noise. Even when it's full, it's still really easy to spin. Here I am just standing still. If I'm moving around, oh, not that big of a deal. But as soon as I turn, the cylinder is just completely rotating. So if you actually did have a spot on your cylinder that was full of darts and a spot that was empty, you are rolling the dice on whether or not you're gonna have a spot to fire next. But like I said, it's a curse and a blessing. If you do find that you're in an empty spot of your cylinder, just rotate it, because you can really easily rotate it. I wish there was something that kept it a little bit more in place when you were firing, because if you just hold it, I guess you can give it a little bit more friction, but if you completely hold it, then you're not going to fire. And that can get a little annoying. But it is really easy to load darts into this thing. Not as easy to get them out. And it only does rotate one way. Alpha Auto 72, fully loaded. All 72 darts. We are going to see how long it takes to actually empty this entire cylinder. Timing on the side, starting once the first dart fires, ending when the last dart fires. 3, 2, 1. That was 39 seconds. It may have been a little bit off from that too, so just under 40 seconds. There were definitely a couple of hiccups there as well, but the result. And now with 72 darts on the ground, the real question can be asked, how long does it take to reload the blaster? I'm going to do single loading. I know there might be some people who think double loading, like 2 at a time, is a little bit faster, but I'm just going to try as fast as possible to load 1 dart at a time into here, because I found it worked best for my strategy. I'll move a few of these just closer. All right, knee reveal. 3, 2, 1. we're off to a terrible start. Time. Oh man, that was terrible. Take the Alpha Auto 72 challenge. Try to reload your Alpha Auto 72 in under 72 seconds. 9 out of 10 doctors or dentists say you can't. Oh, that was really bad. I feel like I could probably shave at least those 13 seconds off and call it 2 minutes. And maybe you can do the Alpha Auto 72 challenge and do it under 72 seconds. Or 72 seconds on the dot. Yo, I suck at this. Alright, those last ones went right back to the Busby long distance darts, but you could see they were still about the same, which was not bad. I did the thing I was talking about, so these pieces come off. There's no gaping hole underneath, and now there's actually room for my finger, so it's nice. Also, this thing does spin. Look, you just spin it on the ring on the back. Am I gonna hit myself in the face? Maybe, but if I do, I'll cut it out of the video so you won't know. So my overall opinions on the Blitz 6 and the Alpha Auto 72 are pretty positive. The Blitz 6 is fairly simple, fairly inexpensive. You might compare it to some other similar offerings and price points of X-Shot. And the Alpha Auto 72, I'm happy to say, is something I really do like and I would recommend to someone, especially for a game that is using stock blasters or even the 150 cap. Screw it. I think you could definitely use this effectively in a game, especially if you found yourself an extra cylinder or two. Right now, you may have to just buy another blaster completely to do that, so that might be cost prohibitive for some. But overall, the thing is 30 bucks. That's not too expensive, and I think you do get a pretty good value here for what the blaster does. I didn't experience any major jams or malfunctions. A skip of a dart is not what I would consider a super big malfunction when you have so much ammo capacity in this, and who knows what can be done when you give this thing a little bit more voltage. It does only have 6 AA's in it right now through this door, and I should also mention I've heard some people having connectivity issues with their batteries in this tray. I personally haven't, but it is worth mentioning. So if you do get one of these blasters and you see for some reason it's not firing, check the jam door, make sure that's fully closed, make sure your batteries are fresh, but also that they are contacting correctly. And if it doesn't work for some reason, I guess reach out to Busby or Adventure Force and you should be able to get a new one. I like it, even if the shell quality is not like the highest. I can see some ridges where it's a bit sharp. I do really want to use this at a game next chance I get. Is it going to outperform a Nexus Pro on the field? Probably not. But it's a completely different offering, and I think some folks are really going to like this one. Those are my thoughts and opinions, and I'd love to hear if you have different ones. Have you seen these blasters on the store shelves? Are you going to pick one up? Have you already picked one up? Have you already modded it? Shh, don't tell Busby, but you can tell me in the comment section down below. Thank you everyone so much for watching. Thank you again, Busby, for sending me these blasters. Thank you for listening to some of our feedback last year. I know it was kind of rough, but you did good this year. And I will see you next time as I buy 5 of these and reload them for 10 minutes. Because that's the content that people want. It's the content that I want. Don't judge me.